Greetings, my name is Tim Johnson. This is Recovery, Strength, Hope and Courage. It's taken me many years to get sober, and when I first got into sobriety this time, I knew really that it was my last chance, my last real go at it. And I had to find a different way to live my life. And those of you who followed my journey along the 100 and so videos that I've made will know that I looked at a lot of people that, as I've said before, are a lot cleverer than me and have made great deals of success out of their lives, and not just in, that have become sober and gone on to do great things, but people in general who've been great teachers and philosophers and as I say, I've passed on wisdom to people for many years. And what I tried to do was learn as much as I could from these people and try and incorporate the rules that they live their lives by into my own life. And what I've really done is I've just narrowed this video down to sort of 5 basic rules, and this is disregarding all the things that I've talked about in past videos about obviously about diet and health and fitness and exercise and sort of discipline, forgiveness, all those things, giving service are really truly important to sobriety. But these 5 golden rules that I now live my life by, or try to, because I'm not perfect, just like any of us, none of us are perfect, but I try my best to live my life by these rules every day. And I've found not only have they brought a true richness into my life and inner happiness and calm and peace, but they've also really strengthened my sobriety. So maybe 1 or 2 of you can pick up some of these things, and it's not easy. These are all works in progress, and I'm not perfect at these by any stretch of the imagination. It's an ongoing learning process and journey. Anyway, without any further ado, I'll get into these rules. And I say rules, there could be lessons of life, if you like, and that people with great wisdom have learnt over many years, I suppose. Anyway, the first one is when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And this isn't just a trite saying. This has been integral to my sobriety, because this is all about knowing that you've got to change, recognizing that you need to change anyway, that there's no future in the life, and recognizing that there's no one going to come on a white charger and rescue you. You can't just wait for things to get better, or for something to get better, or yourself to get better. You have to make that change for yourself, and you have to start looking at things differently and from a different viewpoint, and realize that for all the years that I looked for a solution for my issues, a solution to change from outside of myself, drugs, alcohol, sex, gambling, the material world and all the rest of it, the true answer was inside. And as soon as I started to look at things differently, and the way I looked at things, those things did change, and you see where the solution is, and the solution is inside of you, and things suddenly become more positive. So that's number 1 anyway. The way to change the way you look at things, the way you look at things change, and that really does work. And have a look into that one more deeply. I'm not going to go into these massively deeply in this video, or it'll take half the day. Just have a think about them and see how you can apply them to your own life, as I did, and that's the best thing you can do. Number 2 is there are no justified resentments. No justified resentments. And this is a golden rule for sobriety, isn't it? Because most of us carry, and I've talked about this in my last video about forgiveness, and carrying resentments and anger around with you will lead you back to drugs and alcohol and whatever your addiction is. There's no question about that, because it did with me for many years. And it's the old adage about the snake bite, isn't it? It's not the bite of the snake that kills you. No one ever died from a snake bite. What actually kills you is the slow poison, or the quick poison that even that moves around your body and eventually kills you. And that's the same with resentments. It's not that initial one it's not the initial act that damages, if you like. It's you dwelling on it and harboring that resentment over time, festering it, let that poison seep through your system until it becomes intolerable, and you have to drink on it or use on it or do whatever you do on it, and you become truly unhappy because of it. So let them go, forgive, let your resentments go. There are no resentments. Number 3, what you think is what you become. And that again is quite a difficult one to think about. Or another way of putting it, as you think you shall be. As you think so shall you be. That's what I'm trying to get that right. And what this means is you have to change your way of thinking, because most of us in addiction have a very negative, if you like, way of thinking, and always looking on the black side, the dark side of things, and instead of finding challenges as something that will grow you and for the positive, we're always looking at the negative side. We're pessimists, and the glass is always sort of half full, half empty, sorry, instead of half full. And so you have to change what you think, so you'll become that. So everything's positive, and that expands. And what that means is it's things like gratitude and positivity and goodness and love. All those things, if you're thinking them all the time, you become them, and you sort of radiate them, and they radiate from you and into other people, and then they come back to you, and everything all that sort of expands. That's the best. It's a difficult one to explain this, but that's the best way I can put it without rambling. And it just, goodness seems to come back to you, and without being woo-woo about it, if you like, the universe sort of rewards you. As you radiate all that goodness and gratitude and positivity out, because you're thinking it, you actually become that, and all that goodness seems to come back to you and flow back to you, and renews that vigor and optimism, and your vibration changes and gets higher and higher and higher. That's the best way I can explain it, but it definitely works, because it worked for me. Number 4 is be open to everything and attached to nothing. And what that means, because it's been integral to my recovery, my mind is open to absolutely everything. Never dismiss anything as being woo-woo or crazy or other people's ideas. Be totally open-minded, but don't be attached to anything. Don't let the ego rule you, because you have a genius and a uniqueness. This is yours only. You're a miracle, and you're a miracle waiting to happen. It's all inside of you waiting to happen. So don't have a closed mind, have a totally open mind. And while we're on the subject of ego, because what this has allowed me to do, not be attached to anything, is sort of the material world or whatever, but ego is another way of saying, someone once said, it's called edge God out. Ego, edge God out. And God is a God of your understanding, not necessarily a religious God or whatever your God is. Mine happens to be nature and the way of nature and that invisible force. As soon as your ego starts to grow, you lose touch with that connectedness, and you lose that inner happiness, which is yours for the taking. It's a difficult one, this. You've got to work on it all the time, because for the 9 months you're in the womb, you have no ego. You're perfect. You have no influences from outside. You don't know what sex you are, what race you are. You have no religion. You have no rules. You just be, and you just are, and you just be, if you like. It's the total state, you're trying to get into. If you're into mindfulness and meditation, it's that perfect state. As soon as you're born into the world after the 9 months, you're bombarded with who you should be, what you are. You're a boy, you're a girl, what rules are. Don't do that, do this. How to speak, how to think, how to feel. What your religion is. Everything's sort of imposed on you. All these rules come into your life, and you start to have an ego. You start to be somebody or something, because before you have no name and no identity, but all of a sudden you are this person. That grows and grows and grows and grows until it just leads to unhappiness. And the things you try to lose with ego, the thoughts I try not to have are, I am what I have, so it's not important to me anymore. I am what others think of me. It doesn't matter to me anymore. I am what I do. Again, that's your accomplishments. Does nothing like that matters. You try and lose all this. I am separate from everybody and everything else, and I'm separate from what's missing in my life. And basically, what that all means is that you've lost connectedness. You're not separate. Everyone is connected, and everything is connected. You're a reflection of. There's a reflection of you in everybody you meet. And you have to learn to understand that and learn to try and drop your ego a bit. It's really hard to do because basically you've been bombarded all your life from the moment you're born right up to this moment. You know, you're bombarded with what you should think, what you should feel, how you should look, how you should behave. You know what's you know, who you need to please. You know, etc. etc. I could go on forever. You know, what you need to have, own, to be cool, to be hip. You know, to be normal. Whatever normal means, you need to try and drop all of that because it just leads to unhappiness and will lead you again back to using, and you lose this inner connectedness and inner unhappiness. That's the best way I can explain it. Sorry for rambling, but it's a difficult one to explain that. You need to look into all these things yourself. And the final one is, number 5, is don't die with your music still in you. And it was Dr. Wayne Dyer that said that, and it really struck a chord with me because, as I've said again in previous videos, and please subscribe to this channel if it's doing you any good at all, and look back at my previous videos because a lot of them are how to get clean and how to stay clean. You know, these latest ones are more about sort of self-improvement, if you like, but there's lots of information on the channel that you might feel useful. You might find useful. So don't die with your music still in you. And what I mean by that is you are totally unique. You have a gift. You have something to offer the world. You are born with a gift inside you, a purpose that will serve the world. Every single one of us, and I said this about fingerprints, you know, we all have an individual fingerprint. Just think about that. We are all here for a reason. Every single human being on earth is here to do something and accomplish something. So whatever that music is inside of you, whether it's the book you always wanted to write, whether it's the places around the world you wanted to travel and wanted to see, whether it's the service you wanted to give to other people, etc., 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 whether, you know, it's the music you want to play, even, you know, the career you want to pursue, the vocation you want to pursue, don't let that music die with you. That's the best advice I could give you. With me, it's been giving something back because I've been very selfish all my life in my addictions. So doing this and working on other websites and counselling other people, working with homeless people, etc., etc. You know, it's all been something I've always, you know, had inside of me, but I've never gone ahead and done. And it's given me so much joy and satisfaction. And also, I'm writing the book, something I've always wanted to do without any pretensions it's going to get anywhere or even be published, but it's something that's been inside of me that I've always wanted to do, and it's fantastic to be able to do it. So don't die with your music in you. And they're the 5 bits of advice, you know, five rules I try to live my life by, and some days I manage some of them, and some days I manage, you know, it's very rare you manage all of them, but you know, if you just keep moving towards it and don't give up and keep trying, keep learning, then you will find that inner happiness that everybody is seeking. And is it inside everyone? It's not outside of you, it's inside of you. You're carrying it around with you. It's the best way I can describe it. And it's all of a sudden it floods you, and you feel as though, you know, you're on a different plane, if you like. It's amazing. So that's all I could say. Keep going. Carpe Diem. Seize the day today. Make the change to your life today. And live life, because every moment is a precious moment of consciousness. You know, it's a privilege to breathe and experience this world. Much love to you all. Take care. Bye bye.